Grandpa. Tell me about the good old days.
This is the Mrs. Volpe from our Half Acre Homestead. I got a recipe from my friend. I believe her name on YouTube is Binky Moodle or Binky Doodle, or anyway, I call her Steph. But she gave me a recipe for her great-grandmother's, they call it green tomato jam, but from what she describes it sounds like marmalade, like a green tomato marmalade. So I am bound and bent to put this together and try it. So what I have here is 8 pounds of green tomatoes. I have 6 very large lemons, otherwise you would use 8. And it's going to call for 5 pounds of sugar, which I'm going to use brown, because I always use brown, and a piece of ginger about yay big, no bigger than 2 inches. And I'm going to chop this all together, and when I get that done, I'll take you through the next part. Alright, be back in a bit. Okay, you can use any size green tomato. I just happen to have grown a lot of Roma tomatoes this year, and I have a lot of these smaller tomatoes, and these lemons are actually quite huge. Okay, here we have my 8 pounds of green tomatoes and my large lemons, and I've already grated 1 piece of ginger. I had 2 pieces this size. This is it peeled. I'm just going to grate the ginger in here, and then I'm going to mix in 5 pounds of brown sugar. Now my friend Steph, she just said sugar. She didn't specify white or brown, but I prefer brown. So I'm going to put in this other cube of ginger, and I'm going to layer in the 5 pounds of brown sugar, and then I'm going to cover it and let it stand in the fridge for at least 8 hours for the juices to flow and the pectin to come out of the lemons. Alrighty, so what I'm doing here is in my pot, now I've added ginger, and that little couple of cubes of ginger, I like zing, and I didn't think it was enough, so I went ahead and added a half a teaspoon of dry powdered ginger, and I'm just going to layer the lemon and the tomatoes with the 5 pounds of sugar, and it's going to stay in the fridge overnight. Now, the reason it's going to stay in the fridge overnight, oh gosh, that ginger and the lemon smell so good together, is so that the juices will run, and then we will cook this tomorrow. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to get this jam boiling before I'm going to get it on to cook, because then I'm going to make some breakfast and wash my jars and all that stuff. But let's have a look how it did overnight. Here we go. Now look at all this wonderful juice. And I mean, I guess what happens is the sugar and the lemon help break the tomato down. So we're going to bring this to a boil, and we're going to just turn it down. Once it comes to a boil, we're going to turn it down to simmer, and we're just going to cook this down, and then we're going to bottle and process it. Alright, we'll be back when this comes to a boil. Alright, this is starting to steam up and stir up, and we are just going to, once it comes to a rolling boil, oops, sorry about the steam. Once it comes to a rolling boil, we will we'll turn it down to simmer, and then just let it cook for a couple hours. Now, there's apparently you don't have to add any pectin to this because that comes straight from the lemons. So we'll see. Alright, we'll be back after. Alrighty, folks. Now this is our green tomato jam. And it's a nice dark, rich brown color because of the brown sugar, but I'm telling you, it smells and tastes like marmalade. So we're getting ready to bottle this, so let's just go ahead and do that. We'll get a jar. We have washed our jars, rinsed them, and baked them in the oven for a minimum of 15 minutes at 215 degrees. There we go. You guys missed all that, so I'm going to do it again. This has the consistency and flavor of marmalade. We're going to fill our jars to about roughly 1 inch from the top, folks. And then we're going to wipe the rim. I'm a little ticked because I just did all this for you and I noticed my camera was crooked. And I'm just going to put a handy dandy lid on here. Now I normally don't boil bath my jams. As long as the jam is boiling hot and the lids are hot and sterile and the jars come straight out of the oven, I don't normally boil bath can, but because I am not familiar with the contents in this jam, I'm going to boil bath can it just to be safe. And we'll be back when the canner's full. Here we go, folks. We've got it in the boiling. We've got 6 pints in the boiling bath canner, and we're just going to put the lid on this, and we're going to process it for 15 minutes. I don't use the baskets that come with these canners. I just use a wire K-crack in the bottom. Anything to keep it off the bottom of the canner. And this is what I had left over. And this is just a clamp top jar, and I'm going to just pop this in the fridge. And this is going to be my jam for the next couple of weeks, because I'm the only one who's going to eat it. Me and Mummy. And so that's pretty much guaranteed that I'm going to, Steffi's grandma, great-grandma, called this green tomato jam, as far as I know. But I'm going to call this green tomato marmalade, because that's exactly what it tastes like, is marmalade. It's wonderful. Anyway, we'll be back when it comes out of the canner. Alrighty, folks. I processed this in the boiling bath canner long enough to go out and inspect my Thanksgiving turkey out in the yard, and to feed the pumpkin and apple peels and cores to my goats. Alrighty, so we got 6 pints of this. That other jar that I put in the fridge probably got 2 pints in it. So we're going to take this out, and when this cools, we will label this. If that's all right with my friend Steffi, we will label this green tomato marmalade. And there we go. One jam guaranteed my son will not eat, that I will be able to enjoy all winter long. Okay, folks, I'm going to try this marmalade because I've been cooking it. And I'm going to put some on some toast. Mom and I are going to have toast and tea. But I am such a lucky lady because I've got goat's milk in my tea, homemade bread. Now, like I said, this is going to be a trifle runny because it is still hot. But we just can't wait to sample it. So, there you go, Mom. Now, green tomato marmalade. To Steffi's grandmother. Great-grandmother.
Great-grandmother.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Good?
Yeah. If you don't have oranges, folks, but you got lots of green tomatoes and you can round up some lemons and some brown sugar, you have got to make this if you like marmalade. Wow. This is the Mrs. Wolfie from our half-acre homestead saying it does not get any better than this.
Whoa, whoa, Grandpa, tell me about the good old days.